UPS announcing it will begin delivering packages 7 days a week. Let's get to Frank Holland back at headquarters with more. Frank.
Hey, Melissa, that 7-day service for residential and business customers starts on January 1st. FedEx, remember, said it would do the same thing in May. Jack Atkins from Stevens says this is really expected from UPS to capitalize on the growing e-commerce market. Atkins adding, that's going to be attractive to e-commerce shippers. E-commerce is the key to growth when it comes to the U.S. The core ground business, which is B2B, is not growing as fast as e-commerce. It's a function of building of density. The more density you build, the more profitable it becomes. David Vernon from Bernstein, a bit more skeptical. He says there is a perception in the market their margins have been under pressure with e-commerce, and they have had a hard time making 6-day-a-week work. If the domestic results are good tomorrow, then the markets will buy into the idea. If they're challenged, it'll add to the perception you are adding cost to a business that has not been great. UPS reports before the bell last quarter, domestic ground revenues, they grew by 2.9%. However, next day air revenues, they fell by 3.6%, and operating profit, it fell by nearly 12%, perhaps adding to the perception that David Vernon was talking about. The company making some news, announcing a partnership with Michael's Craft Stores, increasing the number of retail locations for pickup and drop-off to 21,000 in the U.S., including CVS and Advanced Auto Parts stores. Another announcement involves medical drone deliveries. UPS already testing in North Carolina. The company says it's applied for FAA approval to fly over people at nighttime and even out of line of sight of the operator. Under a subsidiary called Flight Forward, it'll focus on these medical deliveries through 2020. Here's a stat to keep in mind just to see how big this drone delivery market could be. 52% of the 13 billion parcels shipped every year, they can actually fit in your mailbox. Back over to you, Melissa.
Frank, thanks. Frank Holland back at headquarters. So UPS beating FedEx to 7-day delivery. This is a perfect time to play a little game that we played before. We'll play with the two new candidates here. UPS.
Oh, pick me, Monty. Pick me, Monty.
Tim, what do you think, UPS or FedEx?
So on valuation, it's a no-brainer. It's FedEx. And while we've talked about FedEx trading at a trough valuation at times, that hasn't mattered. I think FedEx is finally started to turn around. What FedEx is priced in is a lot of international weakness and a lot of cyclicality that I don't think UPS has in their price. So for me, I think FedEx is frankly a better-run company. It's why it usually trades at a premium, and it does not now. That's why I want to own it.
But do you think that there's continued European weakness to the point where FedEx would have to incorporate more of that weak guidance going forward?
I think FedEx has been out front with it. In fact, the market at times has been a little disappointed because it was not what they had told them the quarter before. In other words, FedEx gave us a couple quarters in a row where it's like, hold on a second. I think they were very much, straight in your face about what was going on in Europe.
7 days. Good for UPS?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
What's the reservation?
I think Frank talked about it. Is it adding revenue without, or are you adding, not profitable revenue? So that's the question. I agree with Tim on FedEx. I like the valuation better. I think, FedEx, much of their troubles have been self-inflicted wounds, and I do think that they will get it together. I don't know when, but when they do, I think it won't trade at this kind of discounted margin.
You're in both.
I am in both, much more in FedEx than UPS.
So the would you rather doesn't really work with Karen.
Yeah,
because you're in both. Tepper, would you rather?
FedEx as well. So based on valuation, it's definitely cheaper, and it seems like UPS is trying to play catch-up to FedEx. FedEx is in the lead right now. But, if the global economy is slowing, I'd really rather not own either of these. And I also think right now Amazon is really a big threat, especially if they decide to move more of their logistics in-house. I
know you're going to bring up your stint at UPS, and you wearing the brown costume with the brown socks pulled up to your knees. But what is your
well, just to play devil's advocate, because I have an affinity towards UPS. United Parcel Service, I'll take UPS. Yes, I understand the valuation argument. The technicians will say you'd have a major double bottom around 92 from the low in 2016, recent low. You're at a level now where if it can close above 110 on a good earnings release tomorrow, it's broken out of a major downtrend. So UPS, Mel, why not? And I work there, and all the guys and gals there love me.
How quickly in the spring did you break out the shorts? Because, they have a great
I'm like a February
brown
shorts guy, Tim.
Okay,
BK.
thanks.